Ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, welcome to a very special preview look at Civilization 6, the new expansion, Gathering Storm. And there is a lot to look at and a lot to talk about, so let's go ahead and jump in with this Gamer Encounters. Okay, so first things first, Gathering Storm is about natural disasters and it changes a lot of gameplay elements and of course introduces civilizations and all of that stuff. But first, a special thank you to 2K Games for providing a preview look at this. Not only did they allow me to look at this early, they did provide the DLC copy, and also, just as a special note, this is the first time I've actually gotten preview access. Before this, I've always just you know, checked it out on day one or just talked about it from my own analysis. But yeah, Civilization 6 Gathering Storm, lots of cool stuff, and I'm just gonna show you things in no particular order, but just through the experience of encountering them one at a time. Also, by the way, if you'd like to buy Gathering Storm and support the channel, there is a Humble Bundle referral link down below that you can use, or you can click the eye icon on the top right of this video, and it's a referral link that will take you to the Humble Bundle store. So first of all, under multiplayer, they are introducing a new play by cloud, which is sort of like play by email, or they actually explained it in the game as playing by diskette, where you save the save on a floppy disk and you pass it to your friends like the days of old, but this time it plays by cloud, so there's no cheating or losing the disk when you seem to be losing. But you're probably here to check out gameplay, so we're gonna jump into single player. Oh, there is also Hall of Fame, but I can't show you that right now. Create game, and I'm gonna go to advanced setup and load up a configuration, Gathering Storm's disaster here. And here are the new civilizations you can play. And you might notice I've put pretty much standard settings for all of this, but I put the disaster intensity to max, which is important, probably quite difficult, but we're here to see some disasters. And on 4, frequent and intense natural disasters, and on 3 and 4, volcanic eruptions may damage 2 tiles away, not just the surrounding 1 tile away. But a quick overview of the new civilizations is we've got Kupe leading the Maori, and they are very interesting. I want to just show you this because of how they start. It's actually pretty amazing. And they start on a water tile, not a land tile, and you have to sail to the nearest coast and settle, which is quite interesting. And they basically have early game fortresses sort of thing, which you can build. Now, Kristina of Sweden has a lot of museum culture stuff, the bibliothek, and all of that. Suleiman, a lot of people have been asking for the Ottomans. They have siege bonuses. So, for example, plus 50% production towards siege units, and siege units are stronger with the Great Turkish Bombard. They have the Grand Bazaar to fund your military conquest, and basically, the Ottomans are about conquering, because there's a lot of bonuses for owning other people's cities, and the siege units help you do that. For example, Janissaries, they cost a pop if you want to train them in one of your cities, but if you conquer a city and train a Janissary there, it doesn't cost a pop, and also gets their own, Suleiman gets their own sort of diplomat, the governor, which will help you keep control of those conquered cities. Mansa Musa, money, 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 money. Every bonus is money. Extra money, not enough money, extra money. Everything's about money. So that can lead you to whatever goals you want. It's just like, just look at the number of money icons on the screen right now. We have Matthias here leading Hungary, and Matthias is the Raven King, which is basically all about mercenaries. And one interesting thing about Gathering Storm and how they're reworking some of the mechanics is that they're really doubling down on some of the mechanics which might have been somewhat underused or just not that interesting before. And the Raven King here really goes into the levy military ability of using those city-states, quickly gaining their military and all sorts of cool stuff. And then conquering cities, of course. And then thermal baths to keep people happy because, sure. Pachacuti here of the Inca. It's food. It's food, food, food. And some production. It's basically that. And quite flexible early game. They have the Warakak, and which can attack twice a turn if they haven't used up their movement points. And the terrace farms really define the civilization, internal trade routes, food, and it's basically a very insular civilization. You can hermit with this one and just defend yourself and be by yourself and not deal with other people. We have Dido here of Phoenicia, founder of Carthage. And this one is all about expanding within your starting continent on the coast and playing with the loyalty mechanic. So like before, there's, playing with the levy military mechanic. This one is focusing on the loyalty mechanic and the ability to change your capital. Now, keep in mind, you can, Phoenicia here can change the capital to push your loyalty mechanics out and try and influence other civilizations. But it doesn't change your actual starting city. So when it comes to conquest victory, your capital is your first city. But for in-game mechanics besides that, you can move it around just by building something in a new city. And of course we have Canada with Wilfrid Laurier here. And this is very interesting. It's sort of, you can go in the insular sort of direction as well with this, but no surprise wars can be declared on Canada, and Canada cannot declare surprise wars either. So if you're going for a pacifist civilization, this is pretty good because people can't just sneak up on you and declare war on you. They can't. It's literally not a thing. They can also build ice hockey rinks because Canada. And they have the Mountie unit and all of that. And this is really diving into the new diplomatic mechanics, which, by the way, World Congress is back. World Congress, something they've talked about since before the launch of Civilization 6. World Congress is now in. But we're just going to jump into the game here so I can show off some of these gameplay mechanics. And I'm going to be Coupe. And let's see the intro for the Maori.
From first stirrings of life beneath water, to the great beasts of the Stone Age, to man taking his first upright steps, you have come far. Now begins your greatest quest, from this early cradle of civilization on towards the stars. Coupe the Navigator, you named the land of the long white cloud, and now you are called upon to settle new lands, protect and honor the land and sea. Just as your towers protect your people, the Maori will guard the world's natural beauty for all the ages after.
Good old Sean Bean there. Let's begin the game, and of course, I'm gonna have to shift over to this side. Now, very handily, they do give you this little card here. I'm not gonna read through everything for you, but it does sort of just bring up and touch on the points which I should let you know about. World Congress is back in. There's resolutions, discussions, it ties into the emergency system and all of that. Diplomatic favor, new currency, new resource basically, and it works differently from Civ 5 where, World Congress, diplomatic victory, it's sort of about getting enough votes. But this time, the diplomatic favor is a currency you can use to force people to do things. You can force them to do things. If they owe you a debt and they don't want to pay, you can spend diplomatic favor to force them to do it. That's a bit more interesting. Diplomatic victory points, you accumulate them. Very nice. The warmongering system is changed. I know a lot of you are going to be quite happy about that. There's now grievances. So before, it actually says here, no longer will you be denounced for a fair, punitive city capture after an unjustified war, right? It says it right there. They know what you guys are thinking. Grievances are now basically you do something you weren't supposed to, you get a grievance, and a grievance can actually be a debt, right? A grievance is a cost that you pay later because you can actually use diplomatic points, right? Diplomacy points to call upon a grievance to extract that debt and make you do something. So when you do stuff, when you cause grievances to people, they can use that grievance to get back at you later diplomatically. Oof. I like that. I like that idea. How it plays out is yet to be seen. This is, of course, a very early look. I haven't had a lot of time with this, but that sounds good. Okay, we've been playing At the Gates. John Schaefer's At the Gates, lead designer of Civilization 5. And one interesting thing about At the Gates was the weather system, on how there's weather and climate, right? So there's like winter seasons in At the Gates, and then there's weather where it rains and floods. And that's a thing that's sort of now in Gathering Storm Civ 6. There's now weather effects and climate effects. There's not seasons, but there's an overall climate. And I'll show you a bit more of that a bit later. But look, it can flood. And it does stuff. And there's volcanoes. And there can be sandstorms and storms. All kinds of storms. There's blizzards, depending on the terrain. I've seen a sandstorm. It's pretty cool. Volcanoes are a thing, and of course, fertile land, great for food. Things burn. Everyone remembers Pompeii. Geothermal fissures, which is amenities, nice, okay, great. And strategic resources have actually changed. You don't have resources anymore. You actually stockpile them. The actual mechanic of resources have changed, and they've been split to strategic resources, or rather, material, which is like horses or iron, and power like uranium, which power is now a thing that certain buildings in the later eras need, and they don't need it, they function without it, but if they have power, they work better. So there's gonna be a lot more scramble for fuel and resources, and that of course messes with the climate, and then these mechanics all tie in together. So it's pretty cool. And I'll show you a closer look at that later. Okay, yes, thank you. We are Maori. We're on the water. Look, we've got shipbuilding. Haha, this is our start. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? So the first thing we have to do is find out where the nearest land is. We're close to the north, so we're probably heading... Oh, it actually does show you a little shallow water right there, so you know where the land is. We have to sail on down here and try find a nice place to settle. And don't worry, this civilization, of course, you're having a delayed start.
It appears not to be the scar of a meteorite, but a deeply eroded dome with a rainbow-inspired color scheme.
Ah, interesting. We found a natural wonder. We do have bonuses for our first city to compensate for this delayed start. And, oh, look at that. That's a storm. It actually says there, a Haboob dust storm. Does this actually show on other things? Look at that. It's on strategic view. And we also have full screen map view. That doesn't show that. But look at that. There's a dust storm. Which, because this is desert tiles, things are happening. So that's new. Now, I don't know if I want to settle right here. And look at that. Oh, that is actually really cool. How it goes into the fog of war and then back out using the drop. Okay. Okay, you got me on that. You got me on that. We can sail into it. And by the way, storms last 3 turns and it sort of does stuff. It can increase fertility, but also destroy things and damage units. I'm not sure if it's going to do anything to my warriors here, but we'll see. We found Brussels, but I don't really want to settle on the desert, even though there's... No, I think I'm going to have a look down here. This might be slightly more interesting to settle here. Ooh, and we've got some copper. Okay, down here seems like a nice start. Nice river over there. You don't want to settle immediately after you find land, right? Okay, so the storm should flow out into its 3rd turn over to there and dissipate. And I don't think it damaged my warrior. No. We're just going to keep looking down this way. And... should I probably should just have a quick look. We have a lot of movement points going in here. Okay, I think next turn I get onto the land and see where I should settle. Okay, and you can see there, storm peters out. The Haboob dust storm named Maya, or Maja, now weaker, has made its final move across the map. During this turn, there was 0 tiles damage, 0 population loss, 0 units killed, 0 tiles gained fertility. So storms do all sorts of cool stuff. Now, on the point of storms, and weather effects. We have this now, the world climate. We've got CO2 levels by resource and by civilization, event history, and we've got the Haboob dust storm already. Keep in mind, this is on setting max for climate and disasters and stuff. So we've got the CO2 levels, global temperature, world settings, storms, river floodings, droughts, volcanic activity, sea levels, polar ice. The sea levels can rise, and you can build water barriers to make sure people don't die in that. And we've got these climate change phases as well. Oof. So there's a lot there. Okay, and up there you can see the diplomatic favor, a currency for buying votes. That's now there. Next turn. Okay.
It is not wisdom, but authority that makes.
Now, that's a barbarian, so I'm gonna have to walk back this way. I think I will just settle here. It's fine. We're not trying to do pro plays or anything. We just need a place to settle because... There we go. You know, I'll probably just settle there. Scout round here, get a bit of the lay of the land, found Banda Brunei, and let us get our city settled. I'm not gonna try pronounce that, but we start immediately with a worker, and we can immediately get fishing, which expands our territory. That's a nice feeling of a start, isn't it? Oh, and the music comes in. So it definitely compensates for the delayed start. You get to pick a nice location and you get going. Okay, cool, cool, cool. By the way, if we look at the tech tree, things have changed. It looks generally, you know, okay, stuff recognizable. And then you get to the end where sciencey stuff is happening, and we have a geothermal plant, and we have some cool stuff here. Are those wind farms? Okay. Operation Ivy, Mars colony, great, great, great. And then wait, what's this? What? Ooh, future era. Apparently there are giant mech robots in this game now. And the giant death robot is just over here under robotics. You can see there, the giant death robot. An information era super unit able to move and fight in water. Combat abilities can be upgraded by researching future technologies, which means these techs over here are going to be improving your giant death robot and maybe also doing other things, but I'm not entirely sure what these techs entail. And besides that, we do also have in the civics tree, if you scroll over to the right, past those governments, over towards the end, where we have the corporate libertarianism, digital democracy, and synthetic technocracy? Is that how you pronounce it? Okay. But we also have future era civics as well. And again, I'm not entirely sure what's here, but I don't know, maybe we go cyberpunk or something with that. And oh, there's like markers on the map. Is that new? That's new, right? Yeah. Choose research. You know, we probably should go animal husbandry. Choose civic. Let's go craftsmanship because we start with a builder. And, you know, let's go ahead and get ourselves a scout. Fill a policy slot. There are some barbarians over there. And let us boost our production. By the way, our starting city does also have a nice design. Look at that. But it also has bonuses for starting, well, to compensate for the slow start as well. Now, we are still scouting down this way, past Brunei. Next turn.
I am fond of pigs.
I am fond of pigs. The quote that we keep hearing. Okay, we're gonna bring you down this way. Can we? No, we don't have enough movement points to get that. They actually look, yeah, they look like that. Okay, choose a search. Let us grab pottery. Very nice. Oh, we can't embark there. There's some stuff. Okay, a few other things. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see much of this, but the map generation has changed as well, which is quite important. For example, mountain lines, mountain ranges are gonna now follow continents a little bit more. So let me just see. We haven't found another continent, right? No, so where continents meet on the land, that's going to create lines of mountains, which could be interesting strategic defensive barriers. But also remember, we have, what was the other civilization? The one which with all the food and the farms. They can build a tunnel through the mountains, which could be quite cool. Now, I want to grab that. So one new population. We have the Sankarani River here, and ooh, dyes, and some horses down there. Now, speaking of resources, you now like accumulate resources into your civilization, and it's not so much like, oh, you need 2 horses to do something. You can actually stockpile horses and then use them when you want to. So that's changed as well. And overall, things have just become very interesting. We have our new diplomacy victory here. We need 10 points, 10 diplomatic victory points, and you can earn them through stuff in the World Congress. So this is not going to come into play like right now, but it will become a thing soon enough. Also, besides that, there's a couple notes of some other extra features. If you zoom into the city here, you can see that there's this little canal connecting to the water. That's because canals are now in this game. So for example, if I founded a city here, later on you could build a canal tile so boats can actually sail into your city and not just deal with the docks. You can actually have a off-coast city basically become a coastal city in the future once we get the canal technology. And also one of the things that really should have been in the game since launch, but it's here now, finally. Years after fan mods actually made it possible, official build queues. That's right, look at this. We have queue and multi-queue, a nice little implementation here. We can queue up things into our queue here. We can move things around. We can delete them, no problem. And there's the multi-queue to manage multiple cities. Look at that. So we can just queue, 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 and then select another city, queue, queue, and all of that. And right-clicking does work as well. So build queues are finally in the game. Finally. And that is sort of very quickly all sorts of new stuff in the game. Like, of course, there's more. There's a lot more, but it's hard to get all of it in a gist. We're gonna be playing a bit more of this, and let us get a slinger. And on this channel, I'm gonna be playing through a game just so we can have a much more in-depth look into Civilization 6 Gathering Storm, because I think that's, you know, you need lengthy looks. So I'm gonna do a playthrough, playing as the Maori, I think, because I like where we're going with this. And I'm going to probably just continue this game, play through some of it, meet the other civilizations. How they behave is going to be different with the grievances now. It's not just warmongering. So many people have complained about warmongering. It's now grievances. And we'll get into some diplomacy, some war, and seeing all the new stuff as we go. I want to find a volcano and do all sorts of stuff. So yeah, that's basically a quick look to get started with Civilization 6 Gathering Storm. I'm going to be continuing this game, so you can check out the rest of the videos on the channel as we get through this early look. And yeah, join me by clicking the buttons on the screen right now for the first proper part of playing through this mission, and then we'll see how it goes. Alright, hope you enjoyed this quick look at Civilization 6 Gathering Storm. New civilizations, new features, changed features, new techs, the whole global climate thing, nice little new touches, and yeah, storms. I'll see you in the next video. Do join me.